Clint Eastwood named the 7 most beautiful women in Hollywood. Before he became a legendary director, before the Oscars and the iconic roles, Clint Eastwood was simply a man with an eye for beauty, not the manufactured kind that came from Hollywood's assembly line, the kind that changes the temperature of a room. In rare interviews throughout his career, Eastwood revealed the 7 women who left him speechless, the faces that defined an era of unmatched Hollywood glamour. What made them beautiful in his eyes wasn't just symmetry or youth, it was something more dangerous, more permanent, the quality that separates pretty faces from unforgettable ones. Today, we reveal Eastwood's personal list of the most beautiful women to ever grace the silver screen, and why each one earned a place in Hollywood's most selective pantheon. Wow, I'm kind of going to do your show, because I didn't know I'd have time before I head off to London, but 7. Raquel Welch. Eastwood never worked with her, but he didn't need to. He once said, "She walked in like she didn't need to say a word, and no one wanted her to. Her face, her figure, her fire. She was Hollywood's storm in heels." Born Jo Raquel Tejada in Chicago, 1940, Welch wasn't just another pretty face in the Hollywood crowd. She was a force of nature who redefined what it meant to be a sex symbol in the 1960s. Most women who became symbols in those days were blonde and seemingly available, Eastwood noted in a 1984 interview. Raquel was neither. There was something untouchable about her, something dangerous. That untouchable quality first exploded into the public consciousness with 1966's 1 Million Years BC. The prehistoric fantasy featured Welch in a now iconic deerskin bikini that launched 1,000 posters and changed her life forever. But Eastwood saw beyond the pinup. "What impressed me about Raquel wasn't the obvious," he recalled. "It was how she carried herself. Like royalty, who could also break your jaw if necessary." Their paths crossed several times at industry events throughout the 1970s. According to those present, Eastwood would fall uncharacteristically quiet in her presence. "She had a quality I've rarely seen," he admitted years later. Complete self-possession. She owned her beauty instead of being owned by it. Welch fought fiercely against being typecast, taking roles in controversial films like Myra Breckinridge and the roller derby drama Kansas City Bomber. She won a Golden Globe for The Three Musketeers, proving her talents extended beyond her looks. Yet it was her physical presence that remained seared in Eastwood's memory. "Some beautiful women seem to apologize for it," he observed. Raquel wore hers like armor. There was something almost warrior-like about her, beauty as a weapon rather than a gift. When asked what made Welch different from other bombshells of the era, Eastwood's answer was simple. "Most beautiful women want you to like them. Raquel never seemed to care one way or the other. That's power." By the 1980s, when other sex symbols had faded, Welch remained formidable. She launched successful businesses, continued acting, and maintained her iconic status well into her later years. "That's the test of true beauty," Eastwood noted in 2000. Does it hold up when youth is gone? With Raquel, the answer was always yes. Though they never collaborated on film, Eastwood admitted keeping a mental list of actresses he wished he'd worked with. Welch consistently ranked near the top. "Some people just don't need the right lighting or the right camera angle," he said. "They're magnetic without trying." That was Raquel. Always. But even Raquel's undeniable presence couldn't compete with the quiet revolution of our next entry, a woman who redefined elegance for an entire generation. Pour notre film et pour la Croix-Rouge, permettez-moi de vous dire, très bien que vous parlez. Right? 6. Audrey Hepburn. Not his type on paper, but she made the list anyway. Clint called her the definition of class, with a face made for silence. He admired her grace, restraint, and timeless femininity. She didn't need to seduce, she just existed. Audrey Hepburn represented everything that shouldn't have appealed to a young Clint Eastwood. While he was building his career on rugged masculinity and laconic toughness, she embodied delicate refinement and European sophistication, yet he couldn't look away. "I remember seeing Roman Holiday when I was still figuring out who I wanted to be in this business," Eastwood recalled in 1976. "I was struck by how she didn't seem to be trying. Everyone else was acting. She just was." Born in Belgium in 1929, Hepburn survived the Nazi occupation of the Netherlands before emerging as ballet dancer and eventual actress. Her breakthrough in Roman Holiday, 1953, won her an Academy Award and introduced the world to a new kind of beauty, gamine, sophisticated, and utterly distinct from the voluptuous icons of the era. "She was the opposite of what Hollywood thought a woman should be," Eastwood noted. "Too thin, too European, too elegant, but you couldn't take your eyes off her. Their paths crossed only twice, once at a studio function in 1962 and years later at an Academy Awards ceremony. Eastwood, normally confident to the point of bravado, admitted to feeling uncharacteristically nervous in her presence. There was something almost otherworldly about her, he said, like she was made of finer materials than the rest of us. What particularly impressed him was Hepburn's unique ability to project strength through fragility, a paradox that fascinated the actor known for portraying unyielding toughness. Most actors try to seem stronger than they are, he observed. She had the confidence to appear vulnerable, which takes a different kind of strength altogether. Her performances in classics like Breakfast at Tiffany's, My Fair Lady, and Wait Until Dark showcased a range that Eastwood deeply respected, but it was her work in The Nun's Story that he cited as her most beautiful performance. That film stripped away everything external, he said. No glamorous costumes or famous jewelry, just her face, expressing things most actors couldn't convey with 1,000 words. When Hepburn gradually stepped away from Hollywood to focus on humanitarian work with UNICEF, Eastwood's admiration only grew. True beauty reveals itself in what you do when the cameras stop rolling, he remarked. After her death in 1993, by that measure, she might have been the most beautiful person in Hollywood history. What separated Hepburn from her contemporaries, in Eastwood's estimation, was her ability to project internal richness rather than external appeal. Most beautiful women make you think about them, he once said. Audrey made you think about yourself, who you could be, how you could behave with more grace. That's a rare gift. Years later, when asked about actresses he wished modern Hollywood would emulate, Hepburn's name was always first on his lips. We don't make them like that anymore, he lamented in 2008. Someone who understood that mystery is more powerful than exposure, who knew that what you don't reveal is as important as what you do. While Hepburn represented restraint and elegance, our next beauty embodied something altogether different, a sensuality so powerful it crossed continents and redefined Hollywood's notion of female power. Our network, and it is called Aurora. Now, you haven't done a film in some time. 5. Sophia Loren, powerful, bold, unapologetically sensual. Clint once said she was dangerous in the best possible way. Her beauty wasn't fragile, it was dominant. Where Audrey Hepburn whispered, Sophia Loren commanded. Born Sophia Villani Ciccolone in Rome 1934, Loren emerged from the poverty of war-torn Italy to become an international symbol of earthy, mature femininity, a stark contrast to the youthful ingenues Hollywood typically celebrated. American beauty in the 50s and 60s was about looking like a girl, Eastwood observed in 1971. Sophia was all woman. There was nothing girlish about her appeal. Eastwood first encountered Loren at the 1965 Cannes Film Festival. Though their interaction was brief, her impact was permanent. Some people fill a room gradually, he recalled. Sophia kicked the door down, not with effort, but with a kind of confident sensuality that made everyone else seem like they were half asleep. What struck Eastwood most wasn't just Loren's legendary physical attributes, but the intelligence and humor that animated them. Beauty without brains is boring after 5 minutes, he noted. Sophia's eyes revealed a mind working behind them, always thinking, always 3 steps ahead of everyone else. Loren's path to stardom came through her collaborations with director Vittorio De Sica, culminating in her Oscar-winning performance in Two Women, 1960, the first Academy Award given to an actor for a foreign language performance. That performance showed what made her truly beautiful, Eastwood said, the willingness to be ugly when the role demanded it, to show anger, desperation, rage, emotions most beautiful women avoid because they're not flattering. While many Hollywood sex symbols projected availability, Eastwood noted that Loren's appeal came from the opposite quality, a sense that she was always slightly beyond reach. She wasn't asking for approval, he observed. That's what made her magnetic. Most beautiful women seem to be asking, "Do you think I'm beautiful?" Sophia already knew the answer. When they encountered each other again at a Hollywood function in the late 1970s, Eastwood admitted to being just as intimidated as he had been years earlier. Some women become less imposing as they age, he said. Sophia only became more so. Her beauty matured like wine, more complex, more interesting with each passing year. What particularly impressed Eastwood was Loren's refusal to conform to Hollywood's expectations. She maintained her Italian identity, her accent, her connections to European cinema, even as she conquered American audiences. She didn't come to Hollywood to be remade in its image. he noted. She